Welcome to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Today's topic: have you ever loved a song so much that you had to lose it? Today we're going to go into the details of songs we love but don't have to ever hear again. Next on Rock Guitar Confidential. It's amazing how there's a whole cottage industry of people trying to find a way to give people permission to not actually work at their instrument and get better. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, like that, I'm always perplexed by that part of humanity, like that sort of like. Yeah. You know, I don't really have to try, right? I could just get this for free. Like, I can be in awesome shape. I don't have to work out. The
participation award crowd.
Yeah, well, I don't have to actually, work out. I can be in awesome shape if I just, sit on the couch and eat Cheetos because I took this pill. Or, one time I got a Bowflex. There's a Bowflex in the corner, so I'm in good shape. Or, you know what I mean? Or, I don't know, I can be an awesome banjo player in 20 seconds because of this new thing I just found.
Yes. I remember when some colleagues in the door hardware industry tried to get Bowflex to stick as a nickname for me. It never did. It never did.
I'm grateful for that for you.
Yeah, myself as well. Yeah, right. Yes.
Also, my colleagues in the door frame industry is a very interesting sentence.
I should say, former colleagues. Thank goodness.
That's a sentence I don't hear every day, actually. You know what I mean?
Right?
I didn't hear Iron Man say that. I'll check with my colleagues in the door frame industry, see how we can deal with Ultron. Maybe they have a scenario.
Just wait till my former colleagues from the door hardware industry get here.
I know. It's going to be them in the high table, like the same people. It's crazy. You don't mess with the door frame industry, man. Those
not
guys.
At all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Don't mess with the door frame, man, or they're going to mess with you. All right, hey guys, let's before we get too far along, let's welcome everyone to the podcast. Thank you for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. I am Scott Allen. Over there is...
I am Ryan Bowe.
And we are here to talk everything rock guitar. Well, maybe not everything rock guitar. Lots of things rock guitar.
Music and rock guitar.
And pop culture, bag on...
I mean, grunge. is it really music if it's not rock guitar? Come on now. Yeah, some stuff is. Yeah, there's some good stuff.
It hurts me deeply to have to submit that, but that's true. But so today's topic is Ryan and I have been going back and forth on this today. Here's what I consider today's topic is.
Maybe it's a twin topic.
Yeah, I'm going to say it, and you say your version of it. So to me, the topic of today is songs we love but don't ever need to hear again.
Otherwise known as songs we don't actively dislike that we never need to hear again.
The difference is very subtle between those two things.
There's an important distinction to be made there, because generally if I love a song and I'm going to listen to it.
Maybe I'm weird, but I get to the point with saturation with the song. If I love it, I listen to it to such a degree that it burns a hole through my head. I can't listen to it anymore.
Yeah, so we can definitely agree that if we like a song, maybe here's the distinction, right? If it's a song we love, it means that we chose to obsess over it because we loved it to the point where we hate it.
Yeah, to the point where you can't hear it again.
Or you can't listen. You don't hate it, but you can't. Yeah, you don't elect to listen to it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Or let's put it this way: it doesn't make you excited when it comes on somehow. Like you're not like, oh, awesome, that song's on. It's like that stops happening at some point. You kind of go, oh.
So when I was a kid, I loved Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, it's a great album, of course.
I never, ever need to hear Welcome to the Jungle again or Sweet Child of Mine. Well, and actually, to tell the truth, Sweet Child of Mine was the song on that album that you fast forwarded over because it was the ballad.
I don't know. Is it really a ballad, though? It's got a pretty rockin' middle section.
Well, what's great about Appetite for Destruction is that that's the closest thing to a ballad on that album.
It was their biggest hit, for sure.
Right? This is where everything else Guns N' Roses released completely falls short.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Appetite for Destruction is awesome, for sure. But I'm with you on that. I genuinely love those songs. Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City. Those are all awesome
Rocket
songs.
Queen, Mr. Brownstone. Those are the great songs.
We're talking about when you're talking about the songs that are saturated. Those are the songs that are saturated. Now I'll give you my call for the poster child for this entire conversation is Back in Black by AC/DC.
Yeah.
Great song. Don't
yeah.
need to ever hear it again. You know what I mean?
So here's my thing about Back in Black, because, yeah, a monstrous track.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah,
Great.
you know, AC/DC's just, like, out for blood on that song.
But that song is so everywhere you look. If you, like, open your toilet, somehow Back in Black is playing in there. You know what I mean? It's, like, everywhere. You know what I mean?
I think for me, it's that I've had to play that song in so many cover bands.
Does it give you more appreciation or less appreciation?
Well, it just makes me to not want to hear it anymore.
Yeah. And for me, it's just I've had to teach that so many times, and I've heard it so many times in every TV show, movie, sporting event, you name it. Anywhere you go, you're going to hear Back in Black. And it's got to the point now where I just started kind of,
you know,
it's Back in Black time.
I still enjoy teaching it because of that, you know, there's the lick that's got some chromaticism in it, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. And then, you know, teaching people about pull-offs within E minor pentatonic for the first time.
No, there's a lot of...
Or E minor bleed
it's
scale.
Really a great... Yeah. It's a great tune. It's just that, like...
I never get tired of teaching those two things, but when I flash back to experiences in cover bands where I wasn't super pleased with the performance of said cover band.
I gotcha.
Or the venue or anything going on. Or right, I have like a negative association.
Well, that song is just to me just ceases to bring joy now. It's just a bringer of misery and despair. Maybe that was the point of the song. Maybe that was they say, hey, we put it out, wait for 45 years for it to be completely oversaturated, and then the misery will set in, and then we'll accomplish our ends.
I will say that, you know, I don't dislike, but I also don't ever need to hear an Angus Young solo again.
Well, they can cut and paste literally any Angus Young solo and put it in any song. They're all the same, basically. You know, it's just like, all right, Angus, whatever you're playing today, sweet.
So, well, and from a teacher's perspective, it's you know, like I don't want to have to. It's hard to. It would sound like a knock if I said he's just repeating the same blues phrases over and over and over. I mean, he'd probably tell you he's repeating the same blues phrases
and the
over
thing
and
about
over again.
all of his solos on almost every song that he's ever done is just like whatever he was playing that day. Just roll tape, and he's going to run through some solos, and we'll take that one's pretty good. We'll keep that one. You know
it's all very off the cuff. So when a student says, "I want to learn the solo from Back in Black," there's some memorable stuff that you can.
Yeah,
You're right. That melody there, right? But as it gets into the more off the cuff stuff, I mean, imagine having to write that out.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Or have the student read the sheet music, right? If you bought the sheet music.
This is the conversation I have actually pretty regularly with students. Like, look, I'm not going to sit here and take the time to show you this because you're never going to remember it anyway. It's just a million licks. There's just a bunch of licks. Here's a lick. Here's a lick. Learn these guys. And you put them in this order.
Yeah, it's like the Freebird solo. Yeah. It's like, you know, these are rock and blues cliches in whatever key it needs to be in.
I always just thought that's your chance to go improvise. Just improvise over that part. Play the melody part and then do it. And then when I want to teach a solo, I'll teach like a Neil Sean solo or something like that, where it's like a structure to it, or a Randy Rhoads solo. Randy
Rhoads was
like
my you knew where I was going.
Yeah, well, me too. I'm the same way because it's very structured. You know, there's a certain structure to how that goes, and that there's a lot you can remember. In their even Sweet Child of Mine solos, all the solos have got very good structure, very melodic, very memorable. You know, you can tell you worked it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree.
And I think that's something that is valuable to a student to learn. But I think there's like the Angus. It's not that Angus Young solos aren't fantastic. They're cool. They fit the song great. I mean, it's awesome. It's vibey. He's got his thing happening.
Yep. The sound of Marshall Plexi's cranked all the way up. The tone's great.
Going for it because he's got this ballsy kind of attitude. It's great. But
love it.
Not terribly. I mean, you could pretty much cut and paste any Angus Young solo from any song into any other song, and it would be the same.
I'm surprised in the age of the internet that hasn't happened. I'm sure that's happened.
But here's the thing: nobody would ever notice, though. It's like, oh, there's the cool solo.
And again, Angus would probably tell you the same thing, right? So,
I got one that's going to blow everyone's mind.
All right,
Jump from Van Halen. I don't have to ever hear that song again.
Okay, so Jump needs to be listened to with 1984, the intro track.
That makes it worse, though. It almost increases the misery because it's like, I've heard that so many times.
Okay, imagine you get in your
car. Many times.
Okay, you get in your car to go to work in the morning, and then
wait, I'm a musician. I don't go to work in the morning. What are you talking about?
I'm talking to our audience.
Okay,
I'm talking to the audience. Okay, everybody out there listening, just first thing when you get your car in the morning, start that album on the very first track
on 1984.
So that listen to the synths, as your garage door rolls up and the sunlight creeps in. right? And
Yeah.
then as you hit the road, then Jump actually starts. That's the best way to start your day.
I've just
folks.
heard it so, and I know I hate to say it. This is even going to bleed into the next song on that album. Yes, I know the order of that album, Panama, which I also don't need to hear again.
Yeah.
I've loved that song so much, and for a very long time, that was my favorite song that ever there was Panama. But that being said, like I've just heard it to a saturation point where I can't hear it again.
You know, if I want to listen to classic Van Halen, then it's Van Halen 2 for me.
I love Van Halen
Like
too.
you get all the vibe.
Light up the sky, baby.
Oh, totally,
Yeah.
dude.
Beautiful girls.
Somebody get me a doctor.
Yeah, so killer, dude. Out of Love Again.
Bottoms Up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's great stuff.
I mean, or you know what? If it's like Casual Friday, listen to Bottoms Up on the way to work. You know, with your White Russian and your thermos for lunchtime.
We're already getting a far afield. We're talking about songs we love now. We need to talk songs we love that we don't need to hear again.
It's hard to not talk about songs I love.
So I've gotten two of my closest to my soul Van Halen songs. Let's get another one from you.
Dude, this is hard, man. Like, there's songs that I don't actively dislike.
No, like the songs that you genuinely came out, you were excited to hear when they happened, and you've just been beaten down over the years by them that you can't hear them again. That's the premise.
Dude, that's tough, man. I'm a pretty hot and cold. You know, I either really love something, you know, and whatever it is, I want more of it.
Okay.
Right. Like if the dish is spicy, I want it spicier. If it's salty, I want it saltier. I want my hot food hot. I want my cold food cold.
Makes sense.
You know, so I don't know. I mean, I guess. Man, it's tough. You know, there's some. You know,
I got like 100 of them, so go ahead.
Okay, you know, so like, okay, here's a crazy answer. Like, I don't listen to Chris and Pelletari's "Eye of the Hurricane" album as much as I did.
Wow, that is a deep cut there, Ryan. That is like that is very much a deep cut.
Well, I mean, you're asking about something that I love, so it's got to be a thing that I really like. Like, that was one of my go-to albums, like just post Grunge Apocalypse.
Oh my, that's the survival album. That's like the
that was a total survival
Dream
album.
Theater's
for me.
Awake was that way for me. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other Chris and Pelletari stuff that I do love to listen to that I really don't get. I mean, it comes in cycles, you know.
So that whole album you don't want to hear anymore.
Well, because there's just other stuff that he's released that, you know, I mean, I just kind of have moved on to other material from that artist.
All right, let me get my.
I don't know. It's a hard question.
No, it's not. I got 1,000 of these. Okay, I'm gonna just lay them out, man, and I'll have you comment. I got so many.
I mean, I could lay. Okay, so you know what? Everyone knows that I'm critical of Metallica. Right? Let's just say that until 1990, until And Justice for All, you had Metallica,
and then Metallica.
and then from 91 on, it's Metallica. So nothing released by Metallica, like that's not.
No, the whole purpose though is you have to have really liked it when it came out, and then you don't want to hear it again anymore.
So most Metallica stuff, really, in truth, right?
Like the entire first 5 albums, you just don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah.
I mean, I've had enough Master of Puppets for a lifetime. And that's even before the Stranger Things thing. There's other tracks on that album that are just straight cooler.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Disposable Heroes. That's an awesome song.
Totally, man. Yeah. Absolutely.
Orion. And obviously,
Orion. That's probably their best, like, epic instrumental tune, right?
Leper Messiah's on that album too, actually.
Yeah, Leper Messiah is great. So those are cool songs, but just, you know, Metallica as a band, like, I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't mind, again, I wouldn't mind hanging out with Kirk and talking about horror movies. And actually, you know what? I'd like to hang out with Lars and talk about Merciful Fate and King Diamond.
There you go.
But, you know, I'd rather just hang out with King Diamond and Annie LaRock. So, I don't know.
All right, let me start laying. I got a dump truck. I got to back up and start pulling these out. Okay, the next one, this is going to be really painful with Ryan, is a Crazy Train from Ozzy Osbourne. I can't hear that song ever again. I love it. I think it's great. Everything about it's awesome.
I love teaching it.
Don't need to ever hear it again. You know what I mean? As soon as the ba-dum, like, it's Crazy Train.
So have you had to play Crazy Train in cover bands?
No, I never really played in the full cover band. I played in one band that did like half covers, but we were playing Goo Goo Dolls and Dave Matthews and John Mayer stuff. So we weren't like we weren't doing like heavy stuff.
That sounds brutal.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. So Crazy Train's for sure on that list, 1,000%. I'll give one from Bark of the Moon. I also don't need to hear again.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on that because
I
that's
love
still,
Bark at the Moon. I'm not trashing Bark at the Moon. I just don't need to hear it again.
But I have such an emotional attachment. I've mentioned on this podcast hearing Bark at the Moon on my boombox on a cold and stormy night.
Yeah, I love that you paint the whole picture.
Totally, dude. I think I was sitting at our dinner table with my Sanyo boombox, the one that had the hologram Anthrax sticker on the grill and all the 93
that your dad
rock
threw out, right?
Crank It Up stickers, the one that my dad threw away. So I was
Yeah.
listening on that boombox on a dark and rainy night, and it came on 93 rock. And dude, I'm just never gonna forget that feeling, and it's just so aggressive and awesome. That's a song I don't think I'm ever gonna get sick of.
Okay, I know that for me, if I'm going to listen to any Jake era Ozzy, I want to hear something off of Ultimate Sin. I can't. It's just
Killer of Giants.
I love it. I love a lot of stuff on even the rest of the cuts on Bark at the Moon are really cool. But I just that one, I like Rock and Roll Rebel is my favorite one off that record.
Rock and Roll Rebel is great.
Yeah.
The only one I don't really like is Thank God for the Bomb.
Now that one's cool. But that's off Ultimate Sin though. I think.
Oh, well, that is off Ultimate Sin.
But I'm thinking Bark at the Moon, like I think I'm So Tired is like a terrible song. That song, I don't
So
even,
Tired
I
is
really
not
don't,
so great.
Terrible. But and then I'll throw a Zach here. I don't need to ever hear No More Tears again. No More Tears,
yeah, totally. I don't need to hear that whole album ever again.
I actually really love that album. There's a bunch of great stuff on that.
You know what? Hellraiser.
Mr. Tinker Train. There's a bunch of killer shit on that.
Mr. Tinker Train's great. Hellraiser has aged well, the Lemmy tune, right? But I almost like hearing Lemmy sing it better than Ozzy.
I think there's great stuff. I just No More Tears is just I instantly want to reach for the whatever dial of where I'm listening. Like I can't hear it again. I just will cut it out for sure.
Dude, you know what bums me out is that if it's on radio or satellite radio or streaming or whatever, there's a radio cut of No More Tears that has a way truncated guitar solo. The guitar solo was the best part of that song, and the version that's out there that when I
so they can make like a
randomly hear
3.5 minute version or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. They cut out the most of Zach's solo, which is just unforgivable.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that one had all the hits. I mean, No Rest for the Wicked didn't really have a lot of hits.
No Rest for the Wicked's such a cool album.
It's great,
though.
but I know, but the hits were all on. You had like Mom, I'm Coming Home, and you had No More Tears.
I mean, dude, you've got Miracle
I Don't Want to Change the
Man.
World. No, I know. I'm not saying. I think they're both great albums. I love them both for different reasons.
Yep.
But I think that No Rest for the Wicked is just a badass. This is a young gun going to shoot his shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
That's what it is. And then when you got to No More Tears, it's like, okay, I've been around the world 4 times now. It kind of reminds me of Vivian Campbell from Holy Diver to Last in Line. There's like a big jump in terms of how mature the songwriting got. You know what I mean? And it's
and Vivian's also on Sacred Heart.
Yeah, I know he is, but you can see the jump in his growth between because Zach's also on Osmosis too. But it's like that to me, the two real Zach
Perry
albums,
Mason is a killer
dude. My Jekyll Doesn't Hide is a killer song too.
Yeah, some good stuff coming out.
But there's everything he did after No More Tears was very hit and miss. There's like 5. Say there's a 10-song album. There's like 3 good songs.
Dude, the most recent Ozzy release, I never even bothered to listen.
I know he's doing this classic rock thing. It's stupid. They should have brought in either Gus or Joe or Zach and then have him write the album with Ozzy. That's what they should have done.
They should have done like they did with the last Alcatraz album that Graham Bonnet's on, Born Innocent, where they had different guitar players on every track. So.
Oh, man. My ultimate dream would be to get Gus G, Jake E. Lee, Zach Wilde, and Joe Holmes all together and all of them write 3 songs. You know what I mean? And
like Ozzy wouldn't even need to sing on it. They could do like AI Ozzy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. That's
I just think that would be the ultimate to have like all those guys write something, bring it to the table, and then release like the killerest Ozzy album ever.
Yeah,
you know
that's what Born Innocent is. Like Chris Impelliteri's on the first track. I mean, Steve Vai wrote a track.
Yeah, I mean it's
Joe
great.
Stump's all over it.
I mean that's awesome
too.
But I mean Ozzy's a much more iconic singer than Graham Bonnet. As much as great as Graham Bonnet is,
but Graham Bonnet's better.
I agree. I love Graham Bonnet, but Ozzy's like everybody. Graham Bonnet knows who Ozzy is. But that to me is what they should have done instead of hiring a guy who used to play with California Breed to write and produce it. I just
and here's the thing is that man that would probably sell huge and also cross over. I mean, Ozzy already has all the marketing muscle.
I don't know. I don't think that there's a lot of young people. Well, maybe there's a new generation of people who'd want to hear like a legit Ozzy album. Maybe there is.
Or sprinkle in a couple of young hotshot guitar players. They're out there.
You got to keep it pure, man. You got to be the guys he's played with. Who could do it. Maybe take some unreleased Randy track or something and like splice it together somehow or some way.
Yeah. Well, see now we're in the Sharon zone.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean that's what you do if you want to really end on a high note. That's how you do it.
Right. Or you could, get on stage and act like a wacky waving blow up arm man on a car lot with Post Malone.
That's true. I guess you could. Yeah.
You could do that too.
All right,
that would take a lot less talent. Thanks for listening to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. Please make sure to like, rate, and subscribe. Now back to the show.
Let's get back to what we're talking about, which is
all right.
songs that we love but don't need to hear again. Okay, I got another one. This is something that is a song that I used to legitimately love big time, and that is Dream Theater's Metropolis Part 2, The Miracle and the Sleeper. I don't need to hear that ever again. I've heard it so many times. As soon as I hear the beginning, that da da da, I'm like, nope. I've heard this too many times. Like my body just rejects it. It's like I love it. It's great. Everything about this song is awesome. No, thank you. You know what I mean? And it just happens. I don't know. Maybe I just burn out and stuff more than you do. But I got so burnt out on that. That one. I mean, Images and Words and Awake from Dream Theater were the two albums that I went to that got me through the 90s.
Well, I mean, Pull Me Under would be the Dream Theater song to get sick of, wouldn't it?
I never listened to that one, though. I listened to, because Metropolis has got all the crazy playing parts. It's got all the insane stuff going on in the middle, so I could listen to that all the time. And I would try and dissect the time signatures and stuff, and I'd listen to whether they're using, like, semitones and using diminished scales and stuff like that. I was, like, really getting into the weeds of it. I thought, this is fucking awesome. This is amazing. And it is. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I just think, like,
you're like, this isn't the soundtrack of my life.
I'm gonna go to listen to. Well, no, it's just you just burn out. You know what I mean? Like you can't listen to it that many times.
Well, I think this makes a good point that the world needs new music.
Yep. Because even their classics are eventually going to reach this point of diminishing returns, where you're not going to get that same vibe from them again.
I mean, even hearing music in a genre that's new, that might be similar. It's still a new thing from a different person. Yeah, totally. And that's why everyone needs to go out and buy the Ex Aegis album.
Yes, I mean, if you want to have the
stream
best experience you can with new music, that is how you do it.
Definitely. That's EXAEGIS. BAND.com.
Yep, and then go purchase or download or stream. Well, honestly, you should probably purchase, download, and stream. I think you should do all those, and then you'll get the full experience.
Totally. Dude, I'm getting really good at this shameless self-promotion.
No, you should really do too. Is listen to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast and the background as you're listening to the Ex Aegis album. So
as you're sharing it on all of your socials,
exactly
with
right.
All of your friends.
That's really the ultimate experience. That's the premium package that we can offer you. You know what I mean?
That's right,
for sure. Okay, another one that will blow people's minds that I will say that I completely don't need to ever hear again is 17 by Winger. That's a tune that I loved, and I sat and dissected that song. The solo is so killer on that.
So good.
The riffs are badass. They're incredible. It's incredible stuff. But I've heard it so many times I can't listen to it again.
I mean, maybe maybe for some people it's kind of a controversial tune.
Oh well, Christine 16. Come on, let's get over this.
So crap, and dude, when I mean, I was like 10 years old, like
so a 16-year-old, like an older woman,
right? Right, absolutely, man. I remember that phase of my life.
Yeah, you didn't have the courage to even talk to someone who's 16. They're way too mature,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just in like junior high. Like I'm in 8th grade.
Yeah, exactly.
Like of course, you just don't get it.
She's like a sophomore or junior. Or
right,
it's like
totally.
Oh my god, it's like
So I don't know. I don't know how old Kip was when he wrote it.
He was probably like 28, 29 or something like that, I would guess. Yeah. Something like that, But, there's been lots of other, God, look at going back to like Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee. I mean, all those guys would write about teenage girls. That was kind of what the thing was, because they knew who their audience was. Their marketing.
Oh, right. So there was definitely some like projection.
Like, oh man, that middle-aged secretary at the bank.
Or that rock star could fall in love with me, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. So
kind of a callback to the 50s. Yeah.
Great song, great video. The whole thing about
song. Yep.
I mean, that to me is. I think what's funny is I had someone the other day tell me that they can't listen to Winger because of 17. I'm like, that's why you should listen to Winger. Winger's awesome, dude.
you know what song? I mean, I love all the other songs on that album, but in terms of like the hits, like I think that "Headed for a Heartbreak" holds up really well.
It's like
such
fine wine.
It's epic, dude.
It is a great tune. I'm not sick of that, and I've heard that.
I
I've
never
heard
get
that as
sick of
much
it.
as 17, and I still love it. You know?
Exactly.
And Madeline, the one of the songs, I love that song too. I like totally. I've never gotten sick of that song. That song is incredible. The 17, I think what is I dove so deep into that because there's so many interesting things to get excited about as a guitar player.
Oh, totally, dude. The crickets at the beginning of "Time to Surrender."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
So cool. I mean, but I remember like listening to that stuff and thinking like, oh my god, I gotta really do this terrible. And then you kind of just listen to it and listen to it and listen to it and listen to it and listen to it, and you just kind of at some point. And that, with "Headed for Heartbreak," I just wanted to enjoy that song. I just wanted to sit back and just like listen to the solos because the solos are so amazing on that.
It's so tasteful, and the song really breathes too.
Yeah, it really does.
I just really dig it.
It's very emotional and it kind of builds and it ebbs and flows. It's actually a great song, unbelievable. I mean, that's arguably probably the best song they've ever written.
Yeah, just such a well crafted song.
Yeah, it totally is true. But I'm a giant Winger fan, and that's a song.
Me too.
Now, along those same lines, another song that from a band I love that I would never want to hear again is "In My Dreams" from Dawkins. That's the song I really kind of will fast forward past as soon as that pops up. I love that song.
Yeah.
I've the solo. I remember thinking it was my favorite Lynch solo for a long time, and then I think maybe that was the downside because I sat and listened to it so many times to hear his awesome guitar solo that I kind of like da 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 ba ba da da ba. I don't need to hear that. I probably get sued for even humming that melody.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's one that comes to mind right there too. So Dawkins "In My Dreams" is in that category.
Yeah, I can definitely sing that. Yeah. When our cat, when Memphis the cat, when Mr. Fur is chasing bugs around the house, sometimes we sing, "Fluffy Hunter, hunting for bugs in the living room, meow meow."
You know what's funny is that actually sounds much more like accurate to the album than most Don Dawkins stuff. I mean, who's to say those aren't the lyrics he's singing? Maybe they are. Who knows?
Dude, they could be, man.
Yeah.
I see
Don, love you, man. You're awesome.
I see something going viral on the internet. Right, there's a music video that needs to happen.
Yep.
Right, combine cat videos with Dawkins with TikTok.
I agree.
There you go.
There it is. Now, two more that come right off the top of my head. I'm not going to mention them, and I want you to comment because it feels like I have way more of this to get off my chest than you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can talk about songs that I don't actively dislike that I don't need to hear again. Like, I don't need to hear "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer ever again.
I never heard it the first time, which is good.
I don't actively dislike it, but like I've had enough of it. Like I'm full. You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
You pulled up to the Weezer all-you-can-eat buffet, and you've had all you can eat, and you're ready to walk away. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
All right. "Rock You Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions.
Oh,
Don't need to hear that again.
dude.
I love the song. It's great. I love everything about it. But that song is like, I don't need to hear that song again. I've heard it enough times. Oh my God. Another one that's right in that same boat.
That's the very first song I learned how to play on guitar. That's literally my first guitar lesson I ever took.
The premise of this entire podcast is songs we love.
I know.
But we don't want to hear again.
I'm happy to hear it. You know what? Like sometimes it's hard to go back to there's some albums where the production doesn't hold up quite as well.
Blackout's like that. Blackout's got some pretty spotty production.
Yeah, well, and I mean, if you want to get back to Dawkins, I gave Back for the Attack another spin a few months ago, and the production isn't where, I mean, it needs to be remastered.
Yeah, Breaking the Chains is like that too. I think for some reason, like Under Lock and Key sounds amazing. Whatever they did on that one, I think wasn't that Michael. Oh my God, Michael Wagner, didn't he do that album?
Michael Wagner, or
I think Michael Wagner did Under Lock and Key.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, that's a great sounding Dawkins record. But I think Beast from the East sounds amazing. That live album they did, that sounds incredible. That's a great record. And then I got two others that I want to mention. They're in the same lines. Breaking the Law by Judas Priest. I don't need to hear again.
Yeah, well, I've had enough of Breaking the Law.
I don't need to rob a bank with my guitar.
Or like a lot of the like earlier Priest stuff. Like, I mean, I don't need to hear "Living After Midnight" anymore. But I mean, we're going to be teaching that song forever, and that's great.
I teach Breaking the Law way more often than I teach "Living After Midnight" because that's a little too poppy for a lot of my students.
You know, I recently started. Well, I probably mentioned this on a previous episode too, but last year I did a run of Green Monalishi.
Yeah.
So that's kind of same era of Priest. Exciter is another one, kind of same era that you can get people into.
Yeah. You know what song I actually do like to teach is You've Got Another Thing Coming. There's some pretty cool chord stuff going on with that, and there's there's a part that drives the eighth notes, and it's got the chords kind of building underneath it, almost like an ostinato kind of feel. It's pretty cool.
Dude, that's awesome. I've got a student who requested the Sentinel.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so that's been kind of fun. A little bit getting towards the newer,
Yeah, I mean, the newer stuff's pretty good. I think the stuff they did on Firepower is freaking awesome, man. That's a great record.
Well, I meant like newer in terms of the 80s. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant new. Like the stuff that came out in 2017 was rad. It was
of
really
course
good.
it was, man. Totally.
So good.
Killer band, yeah.
Richie Faulkner is just an awesome fit in that band.
Yeah, he's great,
for
man.
sure. Those guys, the Dawkins stuff, and then another band that I genuinely love that I really don't need to ever hear again, and I'm so sad to even say this, is the song. All right, it's "Wait" by White Lion.
Oh, okay. So
I don't need to see that.
So I always hated.
I love
song.
the solo. I love the solo so much.
I wish I could just skip to the solo, dude.
Yeah.
Hearing Mike Tramp whine.
I know.
Oh, I can't do it. That's the White Lion song that I have never liked to begin with.
I love the solo. The solo is so awesome on that song.
The solo's great.
Yeah.
Vito Brato's great.
Yeah, exactly.
But God, I wish that solo were just in a different song altogether.
Along those same lines, and even a little bit more controversial, perhaps, a song that I really don't need to ever hear again, even though I love it with every fiber of my being, is "Round and Round" by Rat. I don't need to hear that song again either.
See, I have a lot of happy memories of playing that in a particular band. Yeah. Tommy Armstrong and I used to play that with like the harmony solos and everything in a band together. That was a lot of fun. So
it's a great song with amazing parts and stuff. It's just like it's so saturated. It's like it just if anyone says anything about Rat, that's the song you hear, and it's great. I mean, there's nothing bad about none of these songs have anything bad about them. They're all great songs. It's just this like you just. Don't need to hear it anymore. You know what I mean? Enter Sandman for me is that way too. From Metallica, it's another one that I know that for you,
from
day
Metallica,
one.
Yeah,
but that's another song that I don't get excited when I hear the intro. I'm like,
dude, the solo is so unimaginative.
Well, that's when he stopped kind of caring about being great. That was.
Well, that's when Metallica stopped caring about being good at music. And stuff.
I mean, I don't know if I would go that far, but he kind of wasn't as into the whole like I'm going to be an awesome guitar player anymore. I kind of just like I'm going to just do what Kirk Hammett.
It's
things.
the death knell of Kirk Hammett as an artist.
I don't know. I would stop. I'm trying to be a little bit more generous than that.
I'm not.
I mean, he's never.
Been very good.
I would argue that the stuff he did on Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Injustice for All is legit and deserving of praise. I will
say that Injustice for All has stood the test of that. I've actually grown in appreciation of that album.
I think Ride the Lightning's album I probably have grown the most in appreciation of, because I feel like as much as that's a young Metallica album, it's like way better and deeper and cooler than you remember.
I'll submit, dude, Fade to Black is a song that I loved that I never need to hear again.
Is it because it's just so sad? It makes you sad?
Oh, no, I love sad stuff. And like the darkness, and I've had my fill of it.
I remember like whenever
I don't dislike it.
That was like the song when I was in 6th grade. Like if someone was walking around listening on their Walkman, which is the thing we used to do, I would always stop and say, "Hey, man, are you doing okay?"
Right.
That's one.
That's one of the songs I listened to in my bedroom when I was 15, with like the shades drawn and the candles lit.
Exactly.
And eventually, I'd move on to listening to the first Danzig album.
There you go.
Want to get up and maybe
it's a positive step in the right direction.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Adolescence is tough, folks.
It's true. Okay, now I'll go another direction, and we got to start wrapping up pretty soon. But is Joe Satriani's "Surfing with the Alien"? I don't need to ever hear that again. Actually, it's probably say Satch Boogie. Satch Boogie is the big offender on that song. I don't need to hear that song again.
I'd rather hear Satch Boogie than "Surfing with the Alien."
You mean the song or the album?
The songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Surfing a little bit better. I think my favorite song on that record is Crushing Day. That's a great song on that one on the Surfing album. But I think that Satch Boogie's just I can't it just nope, no thanks. Yeah.
So Joe Satriani for me is an artist. He's one of those artists, like he was never on my top list of virtuoso guys. The area that's reserved for the Yngwies and the Steve Vais.
Andy LaRoques.
Andy is my personal favorite. Yep, totally.
That's your own personal hierarchy. He could be number one if you want.
Yeah, totally, man. Dude, Andy LaRoque, man. I hope maybe we can get him on the podcast sometime.
That'd be awesome, absolutely.
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome. All right, we're going to start working on that. My best friend Rich Shepard and I got to go see him in San Francisco. A manufacturer sent us. I forget which
Are you talking
one.
about Joe Satriani? Or talking about,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Got to go see Joe Satriani, and like I totally get it. Like, I have my respect and admiration for Joe.
Oh, Joe is great.
He's so great, man.
And his writing is so great. I think that's the thing why he stood the test of time is his songwriting is just great. He's a great songwriter.
He was kind of more of like, among the virtuoso rock guys, he was a little more softer edged.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's not like metallic necessarily, but he's still rocks, and he's great with melody. His melodies are just unassailable. You know what I mean? I think he's one of my all-time. He's in my top 6 favorite guitar players.
I mean, Satriani is an elite talent, but like you said, he's great with melody. He doesn't get up on stage to spray the audience with a flamethrower.
Yeah, exactly. He still plays songs, even though it's instrumental. It's still playing songs,
right?
The bridges and choruses and stuff. You know what I mean?
I want my face burned off.
Get you. Well, he does that too. It's just he does it in spurts.
He does.
You know what I mean?
True, in spurts. But like I want like constant flame.
Like the kind of thing you would kill the aliens in Alien with, just like that giant flame.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah,
right. Like I'm the xenomorph.
Yeah.
Like
you want to be burned up by the flamethrower.
Right. Kill me, please.
Yeah, I get
Kill
you.
me now.
That's a pretty dark place you just took us there.
Of course, that's my job. That's my role.
So I have a feeling we're going to come back and revisit this again at some point in the future, because I was thinking about this state, like I was listening to a song that came on my going, I don't really hear that song anymore. I don't. And why am I not brought with joy when this comes? Like, this song comes on, I'm not like, oh, awesome. I'm like, oh, it's that song.
Well, I think maybe it's also worth noting. I mean, speaking only for myself, when I like a thing, when I love a thing, I really love a thing. So when I listen to a song, and I obsess over it, right? And so at a certain point, you're gonna peel back that last layer of the onion, and and then been there, done that, seen that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of like, imagine if like you really love eating Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast, but so you love it so much you have it for breakfast, lunch and dinner, every day for 2 years. At a certain point, the worst thing that someone could put in front of you is a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, because you had it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 years.
The cheeriness wears off.
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. It's not that you don't think nothing changed. You didn't change. The food didn't get worse. It's just you can't have it anymore.
This sounds like a Harlan Ellison novel or something. Like, I have Cheerios, but I cannot eat, or something like that.
Something to that effect. That's what it comes down. It's not that anything about any of the things involved got worse. Everything's still great. It's just that you kind of like, I can't have that anymore. I'm over. I've had all I can have of that. You know what I mean?
Doritos were tasty when I was a kid, but I've had enough Cool Ranch Doritos for the rest of my life.
Exactly, which is now significantly shorter due to the Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yes, it's a cycle.
Thank you for doing your job, Cool Ranch Doritos. Taking those last awful 10 years off my life.
Who wants to be old?
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Brian and Scott. Please check out our socials and our website at www.xaegisband.com.
That's www.exaegisband.com.
Got that spelling okay? Because here's our social media's websites. We have facebook.com/xaegisband, twitter.com/xaegisband, and instagram.com/xaegisband. Please make sure to come and follow us on those platforms. Please also make sure to rate, subscribe, and review this podcast if you dig it. Even if you don't dig it, make sure you put an awesome review. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.